So the case study of Venatus comes to us by the creator of Pandora Hearts, and the studio behind this is Studio Bones. So some pretty big names involved in this show, and while I haven't seen Pandora Hearts or read it, I've heard nothing but good things about it, and Studio Bones is definitely one of my top anime studios currently, and have been for like the past 5 years or so. So walking into this, I had pretty good hopes. I mean, vampire anime have definitely been getting on a better track as of late, and coming in and out of this episode, I would say it took me on one of the more interesting stylistic rides as of late. I think there's two big ways I think I could easily break down the formation of this episode, but then there's all these like sub-aesthetics that are just so intriguing. There was probably like 5 or 6 art styles that I saw in this first episode, all from series that I like or respect. When you get the more like mythical and kind of like storybook telling, I feel like it's coming to us from a Madoka Magica project with that type of art style. The main comedy scenes that were there in either the simplistic or the flirtatious reminded me of something like an Ouran High School Host Club. I wasn't the biggest fan of that show, but I really did enjoy the aesthetic and art design of it, and all this cute, simple, and basic scenes when you just have the miniature character models, exaggerated reactions, the beautiful lighting, the way the backgrounds kind of light up and sparkle in very shoujo-like fashion. I mean, it's a very cute style, but then it twists it, and then it goes more dark with its seriousness, and it feels like something pulled from like the Infernals in Fire Force when characters spontaneously combust and become fire demons that pillage and just almost destroy families, living or dead, right? So even though the idea of simple, cute comedy mixed with a darker aesthetic, that's something anime does a lot these days, but I've never quite seen something blend Ouran-style comedy with that type of art design to then transition to horrifying Fire Force Infernal designs and have it blend seamlessly. I have to give major props to this first episode. I mean, aesthetically alone, just with the art design, I'm here for it. I'm saying, you know what, you're telling me this is a split core, we're gonna have probably about 24 episodes at the very least split between 2 different anime seasons. I'm here for it visually alone. But I'm very happy to say that what I've seen of the story, while we didn't get like a great massive info dump blowing me away with everything that's happened, the intro hook is there to make me say, okay, I see what you're doing different with the vampire narrative, but especially with the character banter and the way they're going about it, it's quite interesting. Generally, when you have any sort of vampire story, vampires are kind of causing horrible things to happen. The general public doesn't believe in vampires, and you see a woman talking about how cold she is. Clearly, she's been infected, she's going to be a vampire, she's probably going to end up dead by the end of the episode. And when you see this one character, Venatus, pop up, it seemingly he's trying to kill said woman, and you have this other character, Noe, who seemingly is wanting to protect her because he too seems to be a vampire, right? So it's playing by the traditional trends. You're saying, okay, I've seen enough anime, I know of the vampire stories, I know exactly where it's going to go. But by the end of the first episode, I was actually kind of shocked by the different take on vampires. It was a slight deviation, but it was enough based on the production, the amazing soundtrack, the voice actors having clearly a lot of fun making these bubbly personalities pop out quite organically. The fact that rather than this man wielding this book wanting to kill vampires, he seemingly wants to save vampires and give them back their true names so they don't go crazy and just destroy humanity without a moment's notice. I mean, honestly, this has like one of the more retro yet modern feels I've seen as of late. The way the production is handled, it feels like something I would have discovered that Bones made 10 to 15 years ago, but somehow the animation held up to today's standards. But the way the story's going, it definitely feels more modern with its take on the vampire twist. And like I mentioned a little previously here with the soundtrack, that blew me away. I was already digging the production on a visual level, but when it came to the action scene when our boy Venatus pulls out a knife and he's trying to cut apart Noe, I mean, there was something orchestral about that music that just really like felt theatrical is probably the best way to put it. If that is a taste on the most like minuscule fight of what the music has to offer, I'm just waiting for something truly big to happen and what the soundtrack wants to do. The opening was like this perfectly cute yet kind of like sweet opening. The ending song seemingly completely in English. Like the music in the show seemingly is knocking it out of the park with a production that just screams, this is made for me. Character-wise, I think we're going to have a lot of fun. Bones definitely knows how to pick source materials, it feels like, if they're going to adapt it. Bones has a way of, I feel like there's a Bones comedy charm, where the way characters interact, especially with seemingly the two main characters here, the way they're poking fun, the way this man is chasing him down saying, hey, you're going to help me, and he's saying, I'm absolutely not going to help you. The way they goof off and just like poke fun with each other, I think is something that Bones knows how to do very well, which is why it's not surprising that the comedy landed for me pretty much every single time. At the very beginning, when you have like pop up, like, it didn't make me bust out laughing. It wasn't the thing that blew me away the most. In fact, I'd probably say like the first 2 minutes of the episode were probably the weakest points of it. But with that being the weakest points, honestly, that just says how good this episode was, because there wasn't a dull moment. There's always something happening. A character walking in this world was interesting. The technology of the blimps and just the architecture, there's so much little details and little minuscule things that don't need to be there, but it shows the attention to detail. The little taste of animation we got with the action seemingly is quite breathtaking, especially with those special effects when the book was open and our man was like giving the name or exposing the name of the vampire girl here. Everything about it just screams like this is clearly going to be a production that's probably going to remain quite consistent, especially given the fact that it's a split course, so it's not going to be a back-to-back 24-episode show. We're going to get 12 episodes, we're going to take a break next season and come back in winter of next year. And that's probably the best way to do it. Split cores are something that I honestly encourage the most, because no matter how good your production is, there's always a good shot that is going to go off the rails in the second half if you have to do 6 months straight of one anime. I just found myself really intrigued by the general banter of this, and how you can take such simple things, which a majority of this episode was cute or just normal mundane, but when it went completely demonic with its vampire take, probably some of the goriest and I think most interesting to look at vampire designs, from the sucking of the blood to just like honestly demon-like forms. I really like seeing actually inside the girl's mind when she was kind of being corrupted by the vampirism. I love seeing something like the shadow kind of like wrap around her. There's just so many cool styles at play and made for an incredibly engaging first episode, and something that has me saying, hey, I may have no experience with the author's previous works, I know Bones, I tend to like Bones, but like with any anime, it's always different staff, so you can't just say, oh, a studio's doing it, so it's going to be amazing. You might have expectations, but you can't guarantee. And as someone who doesn't know of the author's previous works other than people really like it, I have to go in with my own types of expectations, so I went in cautiously optimistic. Seemed to be like a good show, and simply put, it blew me away for what I thought it was going to do. And for this being just the first episode, I see massive potential in the future given the buzz around it, given what they showed me in the first episode. Every criteria that you needed to check to hook me in for more, this first episode did it, and it's a great start to the summer season alongside the other shows that I'm going to be checking out for this season. Let me know everyone's thoughts and feelings though on the case study of Vanadis and what you thought of it down below, because for me, I mean, I don't have experience with the author, but I know a lot of people are probably going to be checking it out because of Pandora Hearts. So whatever you're feeling, whether you're a fan of Pandora Hearts or you're fresh into the author's work like myself, what did you feel, and are you going to be checking out episode 2 next week? If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, share your support, and hit that subscribe button if you're happy new around here. So until next time everyone, please take care and have a good one.